Good evening. My name is Emily, and I am the Chief of Blair's Fire and Rescue Department. At the Blair's Fire and Rescue Department, we strive to maintain a good rapport with surrounding agencies, dispatch, and the police departments. This department has several mutual aid and automatic aid response agreements with surrounding fire and EMS departments. These agreements were established to ensure adequate resources are utilized at significant instances. A nearby city has been experiencing an increase of crime rates as well as a civil unrest. This means that there has been a large gathering of people that are reacting to an event with the intent of causing harm and or a public disturbance. The Pittsylvania County Sheriff's Office deployed law enforcement officers to assist the nearby city with the civil unrest situation. This resulted in limited resources to protect and serve Pittsylvania County due to the law enforcement units being sent to another jurisdiction. During this incident, our units were dispatched to an unresponsive patient after an assault. There was a significant response delay for law enforcement to secure the scene due to the limited resources within the county. The fire and EMS units decided to respond to the incident without allowing the police to secure the scene. The fire company personnel was assaulted. A firefighter paramedic had minor injuries that were obtained by unknown bystanders at the scene. A drug box with controlled substances and a cardiac monitor were stolen off of the ambulance. The fire apparatus and ambulances sustained significant damage due to vandalism while on scene. There has been a tremendous increase of risk for first responders over the past decade. Acts of violence towards EMS professional brings a complex concern for EMS providers. Another example of violence towards EMS professional was in Maryland in 2016. According to career firefighter killed and volunteer firefighter seriously wounded when shot during a civilian welfare check in 2018, a firefighter paramedic was killed and a volunteer firefighter sustained critical injuries while entering a resident during a well-being check. This agency was an integrated fire and EMS system that offered advanced life support, ALS care. The first responders for this incident did not wait for the police to secure the scene. The brother of the shooter called 911 with concerns of the well-being after not being able to contact him. The first responders attempted to contact the individual by knocking on the door and announcing their presence. The individual never acknowledged them, so the fire department personnel gained access into the home with fire equipment tools. After access was successful into the residence, the homeowner fired a pistol at the first responders and his brother. This incident resulted in the death of a firefighter and his brother, as well as serious injuries to a volunteer firefighter. The harm sustained from these incidences could have been avoided if proper protocol and order of operations were followed by the fire and EMS personnel. The fire and EMS providers should have not gone on a scene of a potentially violent incident that has not been secured by a police officer. An unresponsive patient from an assault and a well-being check are both instances that should have been secured by a law enforcement officer prior to EMS arrival. The protocols are set to ensure the safety of the fire and EMS providers. There are standard operating procedures that have been established and implemented for violent incidences. These guidelines are created to be followed to keep everybody involved safe. Every incident is unique and has the potential to become a violent situation. So it is essential for first responders to be prepared and know how to respond to violence. The Phoenix Fire Department has a 6-step process of standards of operating procedure. These steps include a scene size up and recognizing any potential hazards, risk management, strategy, incident action plan, tactical objectives, and review and revision. Every incident can change in an instant and become a violent situation, so it is essential that there is continuous reevaluation of the scene. Most instances start with a 911 call to a communication center, and the dispatcher processes the information given, a nature code is established, and then appropriate resources are dispatched to the location. According to Operations of Violent Instances, written by Phoenix Fire Department, the three most important components to maintain accuracy within dispatch is quality, quantity, and timeliness of the information that is gathered. It is also essential to remember that the caller's information is not always accurate and reliable. This can create unexpected violent situations for first responders. It is essential that first responders treat every instance as if it has potential to be a violent situation. The main goal for Blair's Fire and Rescue is to maintain a safe work environment for our staff and committee. Situation awareness and defensive tactics are essential to reduce exposure to violent situations. An action plan for a violent situation for an EMS provider would include to run, hide, and then fight. With violence towards EMS and fire personnel being on the rise, most states have passed laws that require tougher punishments for assaulting first responders. Most EMS professionals are not law enforcement officers, so they have no legal duty to confront and control an offender, nor can they keep one in custody. EMS providers should only try to prevent violent instances and escaping if the situation becomes violent. Patient abandonment can sometimes be a concern if an EMS provider leaves an individual during a violent situation. The safety of an EMS provider is always the top priority, so escaping a violent situation does not cause an abandonment concern if the EMS provider feels threatened or unsafe in any manner. EMS providers carrying firearms is a complex issue and varies in each state and each jurisdiction. The right to keep and bear arms is not an unlimited right, and the right to use those arms is even more complex. In 2019, the Virginia Senate passed a bill that allows firefighters and EMS providers to carry weapons such as guns when on duty. The right to carry varies per local protocol and per local OMD in Virginia. The increase in acts of violence towards fire and EMS providers should provoke the leadership team to adapt and implement new guidelines to keep providers safe. The field supervisor oversees the direct supervision of the field EMS providers. This individual should have been scanning the radio traffic and stop the crews from entering an unsafe and violent scene. There are protocols in place that require law enforcement officers to secure the scene prior to EMS arriving on scene. The division chief of a fire and EMS organization has the job duty of planning, directing, and coordinating the supervision of the employees. The primary job duty is to ensure daily operations is ran smoothly with all the required resources that are needed. The division chief needs to seek consultation with the sheriff about the limited deputies that can serve and protect the community. The director of the organization is responsible for offering high levels of leadership, executive decisions, and managerial duties. This individual is also responsible for reporting and managing to a board of directors. Another key job duty for a director is ensuring that goals and expectations are being met within the organization. This could include changes and setting various goals for the future to keep the members safe. According to EMS Battalion Chief Job Class Description, battalion chiefs in the fire and EMS field recommends and establishes goals that will provide and improve standards that the organization operates under. This includes improving protocols, operations, standards, and methods of job duties. This individual typically oversees the Quality Assurance and Quality Improvement Committee. This will ensure proper patient care and documentation is being offered to the patients. The employer is responsible for keeping the employees safe from known health and safety hazards. The EMS and fire profession is a risky, stressful, and dangerous profession. The leadership team should create mandatory training for the staff to review violence towards EMS providers. There also needs to be a refresher information on standard protocols for responding to violent situations. The personnel need to be trained on identifying and preventing hazardous instances. Thank you.